Hey everybody, welcome to Black Lotus Live, where we talk about all things strange and unusual. And tonight, we have author Joshua Lewis with us, and he's going to talk to us about evidence of the afterlife. Joshua, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you guys. It's and ladies. It's just a wonderful opportunity. You know, it's really nice to be able to talk about the work I'm doing and stuff. So very honored. Thank you.
Tell us about yourself. How did you get involved with the paranormal?
Well, I started out as a businessman that had made some money and was doing pretty well for myself, and I was able to take some time off. And when I did do that, I started looking into, I felt always a very spiritual connection, but I didn't know what was going on out, on the other side. I've seen shows, I saw different documentaries and things, but I didn't know what to believe. So my partner and I, Nikki, we went and, started fumbling around with, little K2 meters and little radios and things that we saw on different, programs and channels. And we went out to cemeteries and we went out to places and we started recording ourselves and capturing voices. We captured Help Me and The Light and Get Out sometimes. And, we would get names, but it was very basic, very, but undeniable stuff. And I asked for, I knew a woman that was a medium. I didn't have much experience with mediums, but I asked her to come out with us one night. And we were at a location and I had captured some names, and she started, without me telling her anything, she was picking up on those names. So that was cool. That was kind of a validation. We were like, well, that's interesting. So a couple months working with this woman, and she ended up telling us that we were going to both start picking up spirit messages ourselves. My partner and I, Nikki, were both in disbelief. We really, even though we were believing more in this medium, that's kind of hard to wrap our heads around, that we were going to start picking up things on our own. And, sure enough, Nikki was the first. She started picking up stuff. And I would test her. I would say, well, I have this friend that I knew, and she didn't know, every aspect of the people I knew that had passed and stuff. So I would ask her and kind of quiz her. And she was right. She was right. And about a couple months after that, then I started picking up stuff. And I ended up going and immediately working with a woman named Deborah Lynn Katz, PhD. She's an amazing woman, and she was a federal probation officer that was too stressed out in her job, and ended up going to a meditation class and learning that she had an intuitive ability. So she wanted to help other people, and she founded the International School of Clairvoyance, and and she did all of her stuff remotely. But I worked with her very closely, and I became one of her best pupils, whatever you want to call it, and I worked very closely with her. So it's been 10 years now, and since that period, I've done over 3,000 paid intuitive psychic readings for people. I've done hundreds and hundreds of private box sessions, focused soul box sessions for people. And I've written the book. I've created an app that's free for people to experiment and use and try to communicate. And I teach classes now with Deborah. So now Deborah and I are co-teaching together, which is it's amazing. It's really a wonderful journey it's been over the last decade.
So prior to all of that, had you ever had paranormal experiences?
I talk about it in the book. A couple of my experiences, the first spiritual experience, first paranormal experience. I have a very crazy past. I got a crazy story. I was in film production for a long time. I still do some private films if when asked or hired to do it. But this is my full-time thing. But when I first started, before any of the ghost hunting stuff or any paranormal things, when I was at the lowest point, one of the lowest points, and I was addicted to drugs and all kinds of crazy things, all talked about in the book. I had a very powerful experience where I feel like I encountered an angel at a very low point in my life, and it was like a physical angel. This woman came out of nowhere. It was really amazing. But the paranormal stuff was about, I would say, maybe some years later, and we were using a Ouija board, and that's when I knew. That was the first experience that I knew the Ouija board worked very well for us for like over an hour, to the point that the planchette would just move on its own. We didn't need to touch it. A lot of times we just needed our hands in the vicinity, and the thing would just kind of start doing its own. So the psychic energy there was already there. I just didn't know that maybe I had an ability that would come out at another time. The person I was using it with was not my partner at the time. This was before that. And there was some other witnesses that were not touching the thing, and they were just watching. And all the communication was all very positive. At the end, it started to get a little, not evil. It was just kind of like playful, negative kind of. But that's where we realized that there's no question that something was using this from somewhere else. We couldn't say it's spirit. We didn't know what it was. But the information was correct. It was very loving. There was a lot of I love yous and things of that nature. So it was really wonderful. But that experience never left me. So that was, I guess, the catalyst, or that really special moment that I knew I had to revisit that at some point in my life, and here I am.
Ouija boards. There are a lot of people that don't like them, and they say that, they're evil, this and that. And I'm of the opinion that they're no more evil than a crystal ball or tarot cards or runes or something like that. I think it really depends on the user. If the user is being an idiot about everything, then you're opening a portal to something. You don't know what's going to come through that.
This is the thing, guys. I totally agree in a lot of ways. And I also would kind of try to shatter some of the stigma that goes along with that. And I would say that is paranormal, investigations or spirit communication or divination or any of these things for everybody? They certainly are not.
Right.
So it depends on the person. Totally agree with you in the sense that you really have to be grounded. You have to have a belief and a faith in a higher power. Mm-hmm. If you are doing this stuff without some kind of belief in a higher power, I'm not saying don't, but I'm kind of saying don't. Because I'm not going to tell anyone what to do is what I'm saying. Okay. If you're someone that's a skeptic and you don't believe in a God yet, but you want to investigate, maybe that will help your faith eventually. So who am I to say whose journey is wrong and all that? But I do see some people's minds that they don't have the demeanor. They don't have the right mindset for it. And I think that that's important. And I think that I wouldn't even dare touch what I do or do anything that I do without a belief in God. Now, mm-hmm. Mine is Jesus Christ. Now, some people that are Christians or Catholics, I was raised Catholic, they would say, well, what you're doing is wrong. And I have a million ways to show you that that's false. And I don't know if I have enough time on the show to go through all of that, but I mean, there's a lot of very supporting evidence to show that what I'm doing is beautiful. It's helping people. There's a lot of positivity. It's all positive. There's very little negative that I see in my own life or any kind of, or other people's lives, or, that I work with when doing this. But yeah, I mean, a Ouija board is it's just a board, and it's a piece of plastic, and it's made by Parker Brothers or whatever. So the fact is that I could make my own and it would work. My app is somewhat like that. Other apps, the Spirit Box is kind of a Ouija board. All of those things are instrumental trans communication devices to communicate with an intelligence in another dimension. And whether someone can say, well, that's our loved ones, or that's a demon or a spirit, whatever. I mean, there's some facts that I've come to know from doing this work after 10 years, but there's still a lot of things that I'm understanding. But I mean, it's been a wonderful experience to continue to grow, and my faith has grown. It's the benefits are amazing, but some people just need to watch it. That's all.
Yeah. I think that even if you don't believe in a higher power necessarily, that if you're doing this stuff, you at least need to surround yourself with protection.
Yeah, but I guess my question would be is to them, to anyone that says that, is where does that protection come from? My protection comes from my belief and faith in a higher power. Now, whether you believe in Jesus or Buddha or Allah or Krishna, those are all real avatars of, I believe, the source. The source is the unmanifested father, mother that is everywhere and in everything. But, so, I mean, I've prayed on an answer. I asked, I did say, I asked, my higher power through prayer and meditation, what's the message to the agnostic, or to the atheist, I should say, to the atheist, and I got that there really is no message, that if those people live with love in their hearts, they're accepting the source without even realizing it. They're accepting who this guy was, or who Krishna or any of these avatars, these, divine Mahavatars, So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that.
I think one thing y'all are both touching on, you're saying the same thing, but you're skirting around and saying it differently, is the Ouija board was originally marketed as a toy.
Yeah.
And you should go, if you're going to use it, or any sort of ITC device, there needs to be a level of respect, and you need to open and you need to close whatever
Absolutely.
you're doing. And when it was marketed as a toy, I played with one when I was a kid. My mom gave me one when I was like 5. Let's play Ouija. It's like, can we find the purse? And we were doing all this, and we were just screwing around, and hijinks ensued. But later, when I got into my 20s, totally learned we were doing it the wrong way. There needs to be a level of respect. Personally, I don't believe in a higher source. I believe in quantum physics and vibrations, and everybody's here together at the same time, and then we go away and come back. But it's a level, like you said, I'm living through my heart chakra, and it's a certain vibration. I think that's the same thing when you're talking about when you're communicating with source. There's a level of love and a level of respect, which is basically the same thing y'all are both saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're tapping into a source, whether or not you want to call it whatever you want to call it, and put a hat on it or a beard or whatever the heck is, it's the fact is that you're tapping in to, I believe, what the source of this creation is, and it's just love and light, light and love, and it is vibration. It's vibration. I mean, it really is, absolutely. In fact, that's what I love about what I get to do, is that I have a faith, I have beliefs, but I do a lot of scientific research, and I capture a lot of evidence. And sometimes that evidence doesn't coincide with people's beliefs. A response comes through that they don't, well, that's not true because I read it somewhere that it's not. Well, I'm sorry, you're denying science then, because I don't know what to tell you. Everything I do is real. I've never faked a piece of evidence in my life. I show it to you guys, and this is what it is. And there's a lot of confirmation and validation for people in these responses, these sessions, but there's a lot of new information that kind of comes out. And I mean, whether the person on the other side is giving us an accurate depiction of what they're talking about, or it's just an opinion of theirs it could be an opinion, it's really interesting. There's a lot of things that I did not understand from watching other spirit communication channels and other research, that I've seen. So.
Yeah, I was telling the guys right before you came on, that's why I was giggling. Back in the early 2000s, I went to some meet and greet and they had like an SB2, SB1 or something. It was huge. It was big. And they were passing it around because it was new. You can talk to the dead. And so the first person came through, was like, Bob, like, oh yeah, I knew Bob. And green, oh, he had a green tie. And bird, he loved birds, and it would go on. And it was just, they were trying to find meaning in everything. And when it got to me, it actually said the name of my best friend who passed away when we were teens, or in our 20s. I said Cheryl, and I'm like, well, that's pretty specific,
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I wanted to talk to her too, but that kind of spooked me a little. But I think it's all about your intent, and the level that you're at, because maybe Bob with the green umbrella and the bird couldn't quite do the love and above type thing, maybe, I don't know.
No, I mean, it's hard for me to talk about what it is I'm getting and what I'm doing. I can just show it on YouTube. I show it to my patrons and my followers, but this is some of the most advanced stuff that I've ever seen anyone else ever get. And I don't know, I don't know. I'm constantly blown away by what I'm capturing, what I'm getting. I'm doing, like I said, intuitive readings without boxes. I do three readings a week, at least to 4 readings a week for clients where I'm not using any equipment. And those are just amazing. And then, someone comes to me and I turn on my stuff and I do the different pieces of equipment that I have. And I'm getting consistent replies on all of the equipment. The information that I'm getting is detailed. Sometimes what I find very interesting is that I'll get very clear responses, direct, clear responses, but sometimes I get stuff that isn't as clear to hear, right? We've all heard those, oh, do you hear this, But what's interesting is a lot of times what I'm hearing as a response, the client or the person may not completely hear that response, but if I tell them what's said, it's accurate, it's right. It was a right answer to them. And That's what I find to be very interesting. So there's still so much that we're coming to learn about ITC, instrumental transcommunication, but it's keeps
amazing.
going. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is amazing. Yes, it is.
A lot of people feed into the hysteria of it, but then there's some really genuine information that comes through.
Oh yeah.
I do have one quick question. I watched one of your videos and I couldn't quite see your box. Was that like a Frank's box? And how much has Steve Huff influenced you, or has he at all? Or do you even know him?
No, it's a great question. And I'm becoming more and more open about talking about some stuff that, that happened. First, I'll be very honest that, I started out watching Steve, and him and I became excellent friends. We became great friends. I love the man like a brother. He was constantly attacked for his things. And I think there were things that he did that, I don't think he was as careful as far as vetting his evidence. Sometimes I don't, I've always, defended him against people that said he's fake. And I say, no, I think that he's not fake. I've worked with him a lot to know. Unfortunately, he did some really unsavory things about over a year ago. Yeah. And he really betrayed me.
Took a big hit.
Yeah, I took a big hit because I created an app. I worked very hard on it. I offered it. The design would be offered for everyone to, for free. And I offered, because he inspired me so much and he was such a close friend, and some of the ideas came from his inspiration of his stuff, that I offered him a partnership. And he was ecstatic about that. He was like, yes, I'd like to be a part of the app. But then he started to get a little strange, and I kind of had to, draw a line, and he didn't like it. So he he ended the friendship, and he ended up
I'm
stealing the design and creating his own app with it, and then charging $3 for it. So that is now his current app, and that is my app. So it's a very tough thing to have happen. And
I'm sorry.
It is, but I think he's a brilliant inventor. I think he's a brilliant man, and I will continue to watch him and hope that he continues to do awesome things. But we no longer work together. But he was a very big inspiration to me. He was a mentor. He was a mentor to me. So yeah.
One more question. I'll hush up so you guys can talk. I am a huge skeptic, yet I believe more than Mulder did. I'm just right there. How can I trust a phone app? How do I know it doesn't have some sort of GPS in there that says lake when I'm standing near a lake?
Sure. Well,
how do I know?
You got to look at first. The app says that it does not get any of your personal information. It does not have any, it's not capturing anything from your phone. But also you can do is you can listen to the sound source. The way that I've made the app, designed it, is that you can turn off the because it adds reverb. So let me just explain this, because this is interesting, and this is important that I explain this to you. Spirit boxes,
I don't get the reverb.
Yeah, no, that's
it's
great.
harder to hear.
Spirit boxes they only work really, or apps or spirit boxes only work really in one or two ways, and I guess I should say. It's got to work off of sound, and it's got to work off of some kind of speech. Forward speech is normally what it is. If it's a radio box, it's skipping through the stations at a fast rate. Okay. So you're catching pieces of broadcasts over, right? Different skipping. Right. Okay. If it's an app, it could be the same premise of it's skipping internet radio stations, or it could be sound banks. The problem with radios, the problem with apps that use sound banks that have forward speaking speech, is that we are going to get false positives.
Right.
Okay. We're going to get words coming through that are not spirit. A lot of people, when you ask people in the paranormal field, how do you think a spirit box works? A lot will say, I don't know. Or they'll say, I think that they're plucking words from the broadcast to use to answer our questions, right? Mm-hmm. My work, and ironically, of course, Steve's work, he has proven in his work and mine, is that spirit is not plucking words from a broadcast. They are manipulating sound to form their own responses. Okay, so that's a big deal. So now I've taken regular forward speaking speech, I've reversed it, I've chopped it up into small 2-second increments, and I've randomized it and slowed it down a little bit. Okay, so we have this gobbledygook gibberish that has got no word in it. It's wordless. And we're feeding that raw sound. Now, just that raw sound alone, they are not going to be able to take it and formulate their own responses. You got to add a little bit of sound waves to that. That's where the reverb comes in.
Okay.
Again, so that credit goes to Steve on that. Absolutely. And the fact is that we can, hold on. I think I hear a 3-year-old. Hold on.
The toddler years. They go by so quickly.
This is like two kids in one. She might be China reincarnated, the wrestler.
I know my daughter went from being 2 to like 20 years of being a teen. I don't know.
Well, I have a 10-year-old too, and she's fun.
I mean, that would love my heart.
No, of course. But this is, I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you something about the app.
So it's not picking up phonetics and making word combinations?
Well, it is kind of like phonetics, okay? Because the phonetics is like ooh, they're just the sounds. But the sounds alone like that are not enough to form as good or as clear responses. But I don't want any real forward speaking words at all in my devices or boxes. I'll still use a regular spirit box, but I have to vet those responses I got to really go through them very carefully, With here, it's a little harder to understand, but when they use it, it's great. So I'm just going to do something. I'm just going to turn on, I'm going to pick the middle-aged female. And here, there's the reverb tab. I'm going to turn off the reverb tab. I'm going to make sure the volume's up a little bit more. And I'm just going to open this gate. And if I open the gate, I'm just going to let raw sound come through. So you can listen to what is the sound bank.
Okay.
My phone on silent. Sorry.
Okay.
So it's a lot of just. Hold on, let me make sure it stops.
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Thanks.
Oh, stop. That's just sounds. That's not even.
I live with 5 cats now.
No, that's that.
Okay.
So it's just raw sound. It's just, but it's So I needed human speech, but I didn't want any forward words. So that's how it works.
Okay.
That's what it is. And so why? So you're asking me long-windedly. I'm answering. Why should I trust? Why should I trust this app? Because there's no words in it. There's nothing, and it doesn't need internet to work. So you can be off. You can turn off your internet, and
Okay.
Anyway.
So there's like no, because I always think, well, maybe there's like a GPS in there and they pick up like, Tombstone if I'm in Arizona or something,
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Good.
So Joshua, I know you believe in Jesus, and then I think it's safe to assume that you believe in heaven.
I do.
So
A form. I mean, there's levels, but okay.
Okay. What do you think happens, based on your research, what do you think happens to us when we die? And why do some spirits go to heaven and some spirits just stick around?
So, I mean, ultimately, it's about fear. Fear is, the two strongest energies that there are is love. Love is just slightly above it, but fear is kind of a close second, unfortunately. And as much fear as we can drop and let go of in this life and learn to love and learn to evolve as a person, if we have some faith in something greater than ourselves, and it doesn't have to be a person like Jesus or a God like that. It could be exactly what Victoria was talking about, but a power greater than ourselves, whether that is science or energy. These are the things that allow us to free ourselves up and to go into, to ascend, to see light, and to move up, and to be in a just a lighter, better place. And people that die in a traumatic situation, or they are holding on to resentment, regret, fear, especially, like I said, it's all just little forms of fear, anger. These things will keep them closer to here. Okay, so it's kind of like you can think of the cellophane over this. It's like another level over this, and so it's more earthbound. The existence of, I guess, the purgatory, if you want to get religious, which is, whatever, there's multiple levels. And even that one string theorist, or what's his name, he talks about the 7 to 11 different hyperdimensions that they believe in, this advanced math that they figured out, and that they said, well, if there was a God, that would be the mind. That would have to be his mind. And I would say that I've done so many sessions, and I've done sessions with people that lived long, fruitful, amazing lives, had some kind of belief or faith, like I said, in a higher power of some kind. And these messages are always light-filled. It's amazing. This place is great. I've seen this. I've seen Jesus. I've seen this one. I've seen that one. There's a lot of that talk, and it's fantastic. And then of course the ones that die traumatically or whatever, early, sometimes, they talk about still being in some kind of mental agony or some kind of pain, and it's not hell. I don't get anyone talking about they're in a fiery, burning place. I don't hear anyone. I hear the D word sometimes talked about, that and if that may be someone's, I'm not going to deny that existence of that entity or whatever, but I have heard that name before. But there's a lot of just help me move up, or help me find the light, or help me let go of this, or like there's that kind of feeling, and so but it's, I have, my guru, I follow Kriya Yoga. I'm a initiate into Kriya Yoga. And so Paramahansa Yogananda is, my guru, I guess you can say there. And, he talks about, he has a quote that he says about death does not make us angels. Like I'm really paraphrasing here because I should know this quote by heart. But anyway, he's saying like death isn't, the great escape, that we still are who we are even in the afterlife. And that if that was the case, he says, let us all go to the ocean now and drown ourselves and become angels. But he says, no, that's not the case. He goes, here is the place to do the work. Do the work now. Work on yourself. Become a better person. Because then, afterwards, you'll take that benefit with you. I firmly believe that heaven and hell is between our two ears. Okay. So it's perception. So if I'm a nasty person, I'm a nasty human being, I have a nasty outlook, I'm always finding the negative, or I'm screwing people over or doing something, I'm going to create my own existence, my own space. And so I think that someone could almost ascend to heaven before they even die, just by their state of being, their vibration. To go back to what Victoria was saying, is that we can elevate our vibration. And I think that, I think that's the way it works. So,
yeah. And I think another, you were talking about fear, and Ralph and I were both raised Catholic, and the idea of hell was pounded into our skulls.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're not Christian anymore, I think
it still has an effect.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, when
you were, that was during the formidable years. I mean, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
It's religious marketing is what it is.
Yeah. But, I think when you're on your deathbed, even if you no longer believe in a higher power, when you're raised like Ralph and I were, it's got to go through your mind, Yeah.
So, I mean, but this is the thing, though. I'm trying to dispel the fact that, first of all, you're not, in my opinion, you're not just going to say this name or accept this name and then live the way you want, and then you're going to heaven. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people that live their life like that. I've been saved. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to knock that. That's because I feel like I have too, but God moves mountains, but you got to bring the shovel. And I feel like that's one of my sayings. So, I have to move my feet. I got to do the next right thing. I got to put some action to it. I can't keep saying sorry for things. I got to change. I got to be better. Right. And so those are important factors. But I do firmly believe in the system of karma. I do have evidence of reincarnation. I have evidence that karma is real. And so, the fact is that, again, Jesus talked about that, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And it doesn't mean that if I kill someone in this life with a sword, I'm going to die in this life by a sword. But he's talking about that energy will follow you. It's part of it. And that's good and bad. So you do good things, but you have a miserable physical existence. That energy, those things that you did are not for naught. They're not forgotten. It's part of it. But if some killer gets away in this life with murder, there's going to be some kind of atonement, some kind of reckoning that will have to happen. And it's going to be more on himself. It's not about God's going to come down with the gavel and go, you, my son, you've killed, and I'm going to, the fire to hell. It's the own hell that the person is going to create for themselves. And I firmly believe that. And I have a lot of evidence to support that, these messages that I've picked up. So
I'm totally with you on that. I believe in reincarnation and karma.
Absolutely.
And, so
it's a great system. It's foolproof.
Let's talk a little bit about your book, Finding Hope in the Afterlife. And viewers, by the way, I've dropped a link for that at his Amazon page for that in the description. I've also dropped a link for his YouTube channel. So definitely check that out. Thank you. Tell us about Finding Hope in the Afterlife. I know you were saying that, you describe your past in it.
Yep.
and you describe your work. Basically, what I'm asking you to do is sell it to our viewers.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I had the idea to write a book, and then in my sessions, my guides, my spirit guides kept on saying, start the book, let's go, do the book. Like they kept on talking about the book. And I tried to not ignore it, but glaze over it. And then eventually I couldn't glaze over it anymore. I couldn't ignore it. There was too many messages about the book. So I had to get started. And as I was writing it, it was like, it felt like a team came in, because there were thoughts and things that I was getting throughout. It was like brainstorming in a way that I had never realized. It was like things were getting plucked from all different facets of my brain. It was like a very divine experience. And there were things that I almost wanted to leave out, or I'm going to go, oh, people won't understand that. That's too controversial to say or crazy to say, and then they would bring me back to it, and they would say, or I get brought back to it, and they'd be like, no, it has to go in there. So I just, so much energy went into this book. And then, and I did it in a way where when you're reading it, there'll be a footnote, and you can, so I'll talk about a story. I'll tell you the inside, the whole nitty gritty of everything. And then there's the footnote, and you go down, and it will have a number of a video that you can go watch the actual session that I just talked about, or the experience that I just talked about. So it's a real interactive experience in the fact that you don't have to just just blow through the whole book, that you can kind of stop and take it. That's how it was meant to be. What I found was afterwards, people were writing me and they said, I just finished it in one sitting. I couldn't put it down. And I couldn't thank people enough for the compliment. I just said, but did you go back and watch the videos? And they were like, I couldn't stop reading. I'll go back and watch the videos like now. But so that really made me feel good. I felt like it wasn't just me that I wrote a good book. I felt like my team helped me, and the divine powers that be really helped me. I really felt like that was what happened. So it's got a lot of great reviews. It won a little honorable mention and stuff. So, I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it.
Viewers, if you're interested in his app,
It's free.
His ITC app, the name of the app is the Hope Spirit Box, and it's free.
It is free.
Yeah. So definitely.
And I did that because I wanted people to have their own experiences. I can't help everyone. I get requests all the time for people to ask me to reach out to people, and I just can't do it. So I can't even, I'm booked up till June. I have the group sessions for my patrons and everything. So there's so many cool things going on, but I feel so bad telling someone that messages me like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Some of these messages are really they're really gut wrenching. Some of what these people are going through in grief. So I send them a meditation that it's a free little meditation, 15 minutes. It's on YouTube that I just send to people if they message me, and I say, do this little meditation, watch my tutorial video on my channel. It's 6 minutes long. I teach you how to use it for free, or how to, just to use it, and then go experiment with it if you want. But please, do the meditation, because the meditation draws on the light energy. It's like it really prepares you. And I want you to do that after the session as well. So it's a proper opening and closing of doing that kind of thing. And so many people now are messaging me that couldn't get a reading from me, couldn't afford a reading or whatever it was. They couldn't afford to join Patreon or whatever, but they did the little meditation. They watched the tutorial, and then they did the little, the app, and they send me the clips. You can send, the clips right from the app. You can just kind of side swipe and hit send. And I'll go and I'll listen, and I'll type them back, and I'll say, yeah, they said this, they say this. And, and they listen, they go, oh my God, I hear it now, So it's really cool. They're having their own experience on their own, and that's great.
Yeah, that's great, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Victoria.
Right now.
Well, there's a big misconception with how to use it. And I'll show you, and anyone else that watches it, just so you could see. So I'll show you if you're ready. Oh, it's
Victoria is a paranormal investigator, and she
Alleged.
was she was recently at a hotel, very old hotel in what was the name of it, Victoria? Jefferson, Texas. Yeah,
no.
and she caught visual evidence of the spirits that were there. What kind of evidence have you captured?
Okay, let me show you something really quickly. Okay, hold on. Because I'm teaching my master class with Deborah right now. So lucky for you guys, I've got some cool things that I could show you. All right, so check this out. I think I have a share option on here, don't I?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Share screen. Let's see if this works. Okay, hold on. Uh-oh. Open system preferences. Okay, so this may not work the right way. Let's see. Is this going to work for me? Hold on. Window.
Yeah, I have the app now. And an instructional video that I'll watch later.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So it's saying I need to, what is it at? System preferences, unlock the screen by lack at bottom left corner, Google Chrome. Okay. Hold on. I have that pulled up, but let me make sure. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, there it is. I see what it's asking me here. Hold on.
Can we chit chat while you're doing that?
Yeah, please just do that so that you can eat up time here.
No. Network time filler. Have you had an NDE?
Oh.
Maybe he went away. He comes back.
Very fascinating.
It is. I downloaded the app now. I'll have to play with this tonight.
It downloaded pretty quick.
It did. We have really bad internet here, so it got stuck, and then it went.
He's back. There he goes.
Here he is.
Back, and I think this will work now. So let me just try it again here. Let me see if it works. Okay, window, Chrome tab, window. There we go. Perfect. Okay, here we go. So check this out. Okay, this right here. You see my mouse, right? My cursor.
Right.
Yep. So this is the first orb that I ever picked up. It was one of the brightest things I've ever seen. And it was, it just shot behind my friend. This is just a photo of it. But here you'll see, and then let's see here. I'll show you this. Let's check this out. Okay. So here I'm at a cemetery. I'm in my car and I'm doing a session for someone. I'm asking for someone. And there's this little light that's, again, things may look like dust, and so you wonder what the heck is going on, but you'll see what's going on. This looks like it's flying over, and as it does, this ball of light shoots out of my little gray patch of my hair, which I never knew why I had this, but more and more you'll see kind of what's going on. This is one of the first things I picked up, and you'll see this ball of light shoots up out of my head right there. And it just kind of flies right up. It's multicolored. It comes right out. So that was very interesting, Here, I'm doing a session for my patrons, okay? I put a black backdrop because I used a couple of different night vision cameras because I started picking up more light anomalies, and I wanted to understand what was going on there. Bugs and vapor, water vapor and dust and all kinds of things. That's the majority of what I see when people light up their cameras and they just shine them in their room and they move their pillows around, and all of a sudden you see these things flying through. But this is different. This is different. You'll see another ball of light shoot up right out of the white patch of my hair.
Huh.
That's your crown chakra.
There it is, coming right from the crown chakra.
Yeah.
And in here, and I'll show you just to give you an idea. There it's, just as a little diagram that this is where they're constantly coming out and leaving. Now I'm calling them in. Now check this out. Now as I do sessions, and I'm calling on sometimes between 20 and 30 names in a group session. So I'll set up my room. Now, when I'm calling a name to come in, you will see a ball of light enter into me or the spirit box. I will communicate with that person that I just asked for. And then I say thank you very much, and I'm going to call on someone else and thank you for coming, and you will see a ball of light leave and a new one come in. So these are just examples of them coming in to me or the spirit box.
Do you ever hear them inside, like the middle part of your head?
No.
Okay.
See, look at that one. That one just shot up straight out of my head. I mean, you got one coming in from here, and then as one's coming in, another one's leaving. Boom, boom.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who debunk these things and say, well, it's just an insect or something floating around, it's dust. But not these.
I'm sorry. Yeah, not these. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. Check this. Oh, look at that one. I love that one. Look at that one. That one's like, just flies out.
Yeah, I have a camera in my garage, and one night it was going crazy like that. And they were actually changing trajectory over my car, and I realized they were coming from my grandmother's table that we had just brought back from the farmhouse.
Interesting. Yes, yes.
I was like,
Check
hey.
And anyone can do this. That's what I'm teaching in the master class. And in fact, this camera that I'm using is a $30 Google camera. This is not some high-tech piece of equipment. Check this out. This may be the most definitive piece of evidence anyone will ever see about orbs. I don't want to hear anything from anyone after they see this. Not you guys, I'm saying, but in general, because what you're going to see is the same balls that you were just seeing flying around me and shooting all around. You're going to see one come from this direction, go behind this wall, and come out the wall. Come on. Boom.
Oh, that's a bug. I'm just kidding.
Look at the splash of light that comes off of it as it goes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is it's beyond amazing. It's definitive evidence. Here, this was me just the other night. I was showing my teacher, Deborah, how to use her camera. And she wasn't getting anything right away. I said, just turn it on. I said, just focus. And this was just within 17 seconds, you can see just a little boop.
Wow.
Just, I mean, the patterns that they move. Now here, check this out. This is an apparition. Okay. Now this is like an orb, but this is going to be what's going to be like the side profile of a face that's going to appear and disappear. Okay. So this is pretty amazing stuff. Now I was asking for a girl's name at the time when this face appeared. I was doing it for a patron. And then the patron said, so I showed her the clip and she goes, oh my God. She goes, check out my friend's picture. And then she sends me the friend's picture, and there's a resemblance to it. So check this out. The face is going to be over here. This is a ring light that I have set up I was doing water ITC.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Look at that face just come right in and then go right out. Side profile of a face, scream almost like with their mouth open.
Wow.
And then you're going to see this. That was the girl I was asking for.
That's funny.
Isn't that interesting, though?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an identical shot. I mean, an identical picture of her, but I mean, that's pretty remarkable that this, because a lot of times when I'm asking and the face appears, it sometimes matches or close to what an image has already been taken of that person that the loved one has. And I think they do that for validation purposes.
Mm-hmm. It's their personality. So how do you do ITC, water ITC?
Yeah, let me show you if I have any water ITC I could show you. Hold on there for a second.
Because I've only seen one other person. I've seen one other person do it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, water ITC is really remarkable. I have had amazing results with it, and I love it. And
what is it?
Oh, I'm
sorry.
What
is water
I'm
ITC?
So sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I should explain that. So the best way to do water ITC is to take a bowl, like a clear bowl, or you could take a metal pan, metal pot. You fill it with water, and you angle a light either above it or below it, depending on if the bowl is clear. You can do it. You can put the light below it, and the person, we being the conductor, the or the conduit, I should say. We are our greatest piece of our own paranormal equipment. Out of all the equipment that we can get, we are it. And so when we can put our hands in the water on the edge of the bowl and ask for someone to come and show up, and that we're agitating the water, creating waves in the water, then it's hitting, the light is hitting it. And so then all of a sudden you got to snap as you're taking and asking, as you're moving the water and asking for the person to come in, you're snapping photos. And you may not see it in real time. A lot of this stuff is always found in the review, but then you go back and you go through frame by frame, and you could find some pretty powerful images that here, I'll show you some of the images that I've captured.
It's the same thing like with using smoke, right?
Smoke ITC.
Yeah.
I've had great success with smoke ITC. Oh, hold on.
The person I saw doing the water communication was actually getting EVPs. It was like a slow dripping fountain, and there was an echo.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Yes, you can use the sound of water, running water. It's really ambient sound. I mean, spirit just needs sound to be able to speak because they don't have vocal cords, so they can use different sounds. But I'm talking about spirit photography here.
Oh, that's cool.
So you see the bottom of a woman's face. It looks like her nose and her lips, and it's like her face. This isn't one of the better ones, but it's pretty interesting. And this looks like the top of a woman's head, her two eyes and her hair. She's coming through, it looks like, but it gets better. Just kind of some slight images. I don't know what this one was. I think this was a man over here. I was thinking. Let's see. Let's get to some of the better ones. Hold on. This is interesting.
Ah.
Yeah. I was talking about aliens.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this guy pops in somehow. I mean, again, hey, pareidolia, maybe. You decide. But it sure as hell looks like an alien to me. And I've had a lot of discussion from the other side about aliens and stuff. So it's very interesting. Let's keep going. Look at this one. That is a baby. It looks like a baby.
Yeah.
Wrapped in a blanket.
Or an astronaut. I see an astronaut too.
Okay. Yeah, that's always been a very like a little Gerber baby.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the apparition. I showed you that. Okay. There was some other ones. I have one here. I think I can show you. It's let me see. I have my cat trying to get up here. Okay. I think I got one other I have plenty others, but I think there's one more I would like to show you. This is really mind blowing. So during the time when Gabby Petito was, that she was, the whole case was going on, I reached out to her. I did a number of different sessions asking for her, and it was some of the best stuff, some of the best communication that I've ever had. And I'm going to show you something here. Let's see if I can pull it up. Okay, and this will be the last one I'll show you. Okay, window, there it is. Okay, so this is the original photo. I asked for Gabby to come through and if she could show herself in water.
Oh, wow.
I see this image come through. I actually see it in real time flash in the water, and I called it in the session. You can see the video where I'm actually taking the photo in real time. And this comes through. So I go online to try to look for photos of her to kind of match up, to kind of show. And I find this image, but it wasn't this way. It was it was flipped. But I flipped it, and when I flipped it, it matches, it goes directly over this image of her. It's an exact image. I don't know how to describe it. I'm sorry. It sounds crazy. If anyone saw this, if I saw this, I would say, well, I mean, the guy must have faked it. There's no way that an image from the internet could have showed up in water. How is that possible? I don't know what to tell you. I have the original with the metadata. It's all there. It's from my iPhone. It's one of the most amazing photos that I've ever captured. And there's a number of other visual pieces of evidence that I've captured.
Wasn't she the one that was found in water?
She was found near water, right? Okay. Or was she in the water? She was near the bed. I think she was near the riverbed.
I don't know.
It might have been dried up a little bit or something. I thought maybe, okay. Yeah, but I think she was underwater. Yeah, maybe. I know Brian was found where or they didn't find him at first because he was underwater for a long time, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
Anyway.
That's spooky.
You mentioned the picture of the alien, and I'm very into ufology. And unfortunately, in ufology, there are a lot of hoaxers out there. Fakers,
Just
frauds.
like here, just like in our field.
And I think this is very concerning for me, because I think that the paranormal needs to be studied and it needs to be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And because of all these hoaxers out there, they're deepening the black eye that the ufology and the paranormal already have.
Right.
I mean, listen, there's a massive channel that's 3 times the size of mine. And he has a box that looks just like mine, and he only communicates with only celebrities, and he only asks for just celebrities and stuff. And he's 100% fake. I outed him. He's a fake. I used to be friends with this guy. This is not Steve. This is someone else. And it's painful. It's painful to see this person duping people. And there's nothing I can do about it. I've already said my piece. What am I going to do? Continue to ring the bell and be like, this guy's fake. He's faking it. It makes me look like I'm, sour grapes or whatever you call it. It's like, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, there are so many people that are misleading people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the most painful thing. You have to be a real evil SOB to fake this kind of work. You have to be a real deplorable son of a, I don't know what else to say. I mean,
You're living in a lower vibration.
Absolutely. And the same goes with the UFO stuff, because there are apps. I mean, I know real people that are doing amazing, research, capturing amazing things in the sky, getting involvement like from them, that looks it's very amazing stuff. There's a couple people that I follow, and it's like, it's really cool. But there's a lot of fake stuff. There's a lot of fake stuff. How do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you communicate with aliens or ETs? I'm sorry.
So
have you tried?
I have. That's so funny you asked that. So I have captured some stuff. I did a couple of Nikola Tesla sessions, and those were really mind blowing. And I captured some stuff about them. I sat outside. I did a CE5 meditation once. I don't know whose opinions on Greer and what his deal is or whatever, but I know that from my own experience that the way for me to connect with spirit and to get the results I get is through the meditation and through the visualization techniques that I use. So to hear Dr. Stephen Greer talking about the CE5 and those kinds of things, anyone else could say that's crap or whatever, but I know from personal experience that if you're going to communicate interdimensionally, that is the way to do it. So I have sat outside, I've done that, and I have seen some things. I didn't catch it on camera, but I know that I believe that there's something very real out there. The other night, one patron for the first time said, I want to speak to an ET. Can you ask during the group session? And so in the beginning of that session, I do a roll call and I kind of read off all the names I'm going to ask for. And I got to the part where I said, I'm going to ask for an ET tonight to come through. This was just about a week ago. And one of my guides says, I'm not doing it. and it was really funny because I was like, okay, maybe that, still some of them on the other side, they have to help me connect, these guides, my helpers, and some of them may not be comfortable with that. I have to be careful with that. But I felt like I was tuning into something. So I think there's a lot there. And I definitely have had my teacher, Deborah, say that when we were doing a session together, she was intuitively feeling that something ET was watching, was kind of checking in on the session. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
So what's next for you?
Like I said, the book is out, the app is out. I will have a more advanced pro version down the road of the app because there's a lot more features and things coming. I've just started, I'm in the middle on week 4 of my master class. It's an 8-week course that I'm teaching with Deborah called Piercing the Veil. and I'll be doing some other classes after that. I've got a live event in New Orleans, August 26th, the weekend of August 26th. I'm going to do a 3-day event of an investigation the first night, a presentation the second night, and a group session the third night. So it's a real amazing afterlife experience. Savannah, Georgia's after that, and then we're just going to keep going. I mean, it's just onward and upward. I just did a session recently with asking for someone in a coma, and I can't tell you how mind-blowing those results were. And that's going to be my next video that I'll be releasing, and it was a friend of mine. His mother has a couple strokes. She was intubated. It was very sudden. And I don't know why, after getting off the phone with him, I felt that I should ask. And it was a major, I've never done this before, kind of thing. And so I did, and the responses were remarkable. They were remarkable. She said in the session, she says, just put me in a bed in hospice. And a couple of days later, that's where they put her into hospice. She was not able to be saved, and she was an organ donor, and she eventually passed. And when she passed, I asked for her again, and she came through, or I got responses that were very compelling and very, very direct. And so I think that was the first time for me that I've ever communicated with someone, or potentially communicated with someone who was still in their body.
Where are you investigating in New Orleans?
I'll be at the Hilton on St. Charles Street, and I think that we'll be at a theater. There's 2 locations that we're looking we're finalizing here in the next day or so. But these are a major theater. There's a bunch of locations that were opened up to us, and so we were just kind of trying to choose the best one for the group, because it's not a large group. I only allow like 25 people to be at one of these events, because then I can actually work with everyone and actually have a real great experience. So more will be revealed on that. I'll have that on hopeparanormal.com, everything, the book, the app, the events, the classes, all that stuff. It's all there.
I used to live in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
And the funny thing about that is that it is one of the most haunted cities in America.
Right.
And I have had so many paranormal experiences happen to me throughout my life, and not once in New Orleans.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why.
I mean, I just did the first event in last August in St. Augustine. So I just wanted to hit all the haunted cities first, so it was like St. Augustine, it'll be, New Orleans, Savannah, and then I'm going to go back down to Key West, and then I'm going to go back out west. I'm going to go west somewhere, but I'm hitting all the real haunted spots, and I had such a great time in St. Augustine. Key West is always off the chain as far as activity. So I'm looking forward to New Orleans. I mean, I really am,
It's a great city. It really is. I think we're going to get out of here for the night. First of all, I want to thank you very much, Joshua, for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I mean, it was really interesting talking to you.
Yeah.
I was mentioning to Victoria before you came on that I've always been kind of on the fence about these spirit boxes, because I think a lot of it that you hear is audio pareidolia.
Could be. I mean, that could be an argument made. Absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
But then after listening to your app, I got to download this thing.
Yeah, I mean,
check it out for myself.
The thing about it is that, and I know we're out of time, but it's like, people are not going to just download the app, turn it on, and start getting stuff. It's going to take a little bit of focus. It's going to take some time. You get persistent. And when you do it, I just want to tell everyone again, when you do it, please don't open the app for longer, like the gate. When you do the thing, I just want to show you this really quickly, because people get very discouraged. They'll open this gate for too long. They'll slide it open and leave it open. So when you ask a question, you leave it closed like this. You'd hit record and you'd say, hello, hello, who's there with me?
Okay.
Okay, so this is it. The most I'll do sometimes is this. This is the most I'll get creative with. I'll do this. I mean, that could be something. I have headphones on. I can't really hear. I'm not focusing, but you hear sound coming through. Now, again, bing, bing, that's it. Or maybe a little half, but that's the most that you want to do when experimenting with it. You will eventually get direct responses. And just to give you a little, just 2 seconds is this. When you said that a lot of that could be sound pareidolia, I understand that. I definitely get that because I don't always hear everything in real time. And how do we know? But when I get a direct response that I'm hearing that maybe someone else isn't hearing, and then I say, yeah, but the answer is this, and they go, yeah, well, that is the correct answer. How is that possible? Right, you know what I'm saying? So maybe you're not as accustomed to hearing that response yet, and that's not I can only hear it. I'm the only one that can hear it. That's bullcrap. But it's eventually you will be able to hear it like I'm hearing. You know, like a forensic audio expert does, they're able to listen to the mob recordings and be able to transcribe them. But, you know, the layman may not be able to get that right away. You know, so I think it's the same kind of thing. A little bit of time and effort, and you will start hearing it.
Yeah. Right. That sounds great.
Do you do the Estes method, or have you done it? Sorry, I get one more in there.
No, I think the Estes method is very interesting. I have not done that, but I think that's a very interesting method. I think that's very effective. I don't know why. I don't think I need to do it, but it's a very cool method. I think it looks. I haven't needed to do it. I haven't felt like the need to do it. I've just been, you know, doing what I do. But you know, I think it's a really cool technique or method.
Because I don't hear very well, but I was picking up information, and they're like, yes. But
see,
she can't hear.
Right.
Viewers, be sure to check out his book at Amazon and his YouTube channel, and definitely go to his website. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit that little bell and click all so you get notified every time we do this. We do this every Sunday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. If you have friends that are into these paranormal topics we talk about, most definitely share it with them, and share it to your groups. You know, share it to your socials. So, anyway, viewers, thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, keep thinking and question everything.
That's right. Thanks, guys.